So thank you for coming to XLRI and for this opportunity to interview you. So we'll begin. So first of all, from starting as a food and beverage associate at Oberoi Group to becoming an award-winning HR leader, your career trajectory has been truly inspiring for me. How did this transition shape your perspective on talent management and workplace culture?
So I think hospitality, as the beginning of my career, I think it gave me a fantastic foundation. If I go back to my hotel management days, right, one of the things which we were taught very early is that importance of preparation. For example, for any kitchen to run well, or for restaurant operations, banquet operations to run well, it's very, very important that you prepare well. And the preparation starts much in advance. And that is something which comes handy to me even today. A second aspect which I learned was the importance of service. And how exactly you go about delivering service. Service has two parts. One, what is the process? And then second, who are the people who are delivering it? And what I realized while working in a restaurant or in a bar, that ultimately process plays a role. But it's people who ultimately end up creating the wow experience.
Yes.
Now, in an HR role where it's about creating employee experience or creating experience for our stakeholders, I think a lot of tricks which I learned while working in the hospitality industry comes really handy. And third, I think it's also like the kind of hustle you deal with in a hotel environment. That is something again which comes to you as part of HR career. So these three aspects: preparation, service attitude, and then ultimately how do you build resilience if things don't go well? How do you challenge them, turn them around? All these traits, I think, thanks to the initial days in the hospitality industry.
Okay. So for the management students aspiring to enter the field of HR, what skills or mindsets do you believe will set them apart in today's corporate landscape?
So I think there are broadly four aspects which are very important. The person entering in HR, first and foremost, I always say that you need to understand business. HR can't operate in silo. If you don't understand business, it's very, very difficult to make meaningful differences in life of business and in life of people. Now, what do I mean when I say business? Basically, understanding that how exactly this business goes about making money. So how business makes money, how much money it makes, all these ultimately translates into the kind of people strategies you create, the kind of culture you want to build, what kind of levers you want to use for the business to create. So business acumen, very, very important. I think it's non-negotiable for any HR professional who wants to do well in his or her career. Second aspect is, I think, over last decade, the ability to understand data, what kind of people and culture data comes in, how it binds with business data, and using that data to cultivate insights, and not only leaving it insights, but ultimately converting it into action. So that's the second aspect in terms of data-based decision making. Third, I would say empathy. Okay. And empathy, not leaving empathy only at, like, for example, understanding one's challenges or what a person is going through, but finding solutions for it. Okay. So an empathy which ultimately leads into some action, which improves life. And lastly, I would say, and DNA of being curious at all point of time, DNA of somebody who is ready to learn at any point of time. What curiosity does is, we live in a world where things change so quickly. Right?
Yes.
We were talking about ChatGPT and now we are talking about DeepSeek.
Yes.
So things change so quickly. How adaptable you are, again, it depends on how curious you are to learn. So business acumen, understanding data, empathy which leads into action, and lastly, curiosity, ability to learn.
Those are indeed great lessons. So your research on employer branding was published in the Journal of Brand Management. So what are some misconceptions about employee branding that companies often overlook?
So I think the mistakes which organizations make is employer branding is not a marketing function, right? Or it's not a one-time function. What typically organizations do is your employer branding is what you see on social media, on the LinkedIn page. It's some initiative here and there which is built, or it is some messaging which looks very good on the outer part of it is created. But we need to understand that brand is something which ultimately what people experience. Right? If what you are telling to the outside world doesn't resonate with people inside, or somebody looks at that brand, joins the organization and then realizes that it's completely opposite or some
Yeah.
of the aspects are not correct, then it's a detrimental, right?
Yeah.
It creates a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important that your employer brand has to be exactly what as an organization you are. It's not limited to only one part, which is say hiring or say rewards. It's ultimately the entire employee life cycle which it goes through. So that's where you need to put in a lot of efforts in terms of exactly understanding what the organization culture is about, what exactly you are offering which is unique, and ensuring that it happens day in, day out. So that's the way I look at it. Like in fact, the research which we did, and this we did when I was at TES, right, that companies like which appeared in say best place to work survey for 1 year, or say which appeared for 1 year and then after 4 years again appeared, vis-a-vis companies who are there consistently out there, they had more intention to apply.
Okay.
So ultimately, employer brand does work, but it requires concrete, consistent effort and consistent, genuine efforts.
Okay. So it's the consistency that matters actually. Okay. So someone recognized in the esteemed 100 HR under 40 list and awarded Young Millennial HR Leader. What trends do you see shaping the future of HR, especially for Gen Z and beyond?
So one thing, if you see what Gen Z look for is they don't look at work and life separately. It's something which I have seen, right? They basically see work as an extension of their individual life, right? Or individual what they are as a person. It's an extension basically. Now for that to happen, right? Like earlier, like for example, in an organization, you might have one common set of work which is happening. You give that work to all the people and all the people will do that.
Yes.
But now you need to bring in that individualization or the personalization in terms of what the person gets out of the job, how the person perceives the job. So can you create that personalized work environment for each and every person? Which means you need work at policy level, which means you need work even in terms of how do you design. Right? For example, earlier it used to be a specific time hour-led job, but now people are okay with a project-based job, gig work. Right? So as an organization also, like how do you keep on changing, redefining work is very, very important. Lastly, I think the world we live in now, mental health will come into play. A lot of new talent I speak to, right? Last week I was speaking to this girl who is pursuing her MBA in Bangalore, right? She was talking about mental health challenges. So a lot of new people do have these sort of challenges. As an organization, I think we have a role to support these individuals in their journey. So mental aspect, mental well-being will again be a big theme which will come into play.
So you mentioned about personalization, and the earlier discussion you also mentioned about the data. So is there two link basically, like you need more data to ensure that it's more personalized?
Absolutely. So if you see now, like for example, today you start getting data the moment people start applying to a job.
Yes.
Now starting from what kind of people are applying to that job, what kind of personalities are applying to that job. You have interesting data set, right? Like you can even get social media data of candidates who are applying to it. Right? So what kind of personas are applying to a particular job, right? And then can you design that job in line with that, right? Then you have data which comes as part of the hiring process, the various assessments they do, right? You have onboarding experience data, you have regular pulse data which comes to you, right? Then what kind of people are leaving your organization? What kind of people are performing in your organization?
Yes.
So different kind of data sets can certainly help you to decode that what a particular persona is looking for. At the same point of time, what a particular persona can deliver for the organization.
I guess something like an AI also naturally comes along with it or as an extension. So having built dynamic and fulfilling workplace environments, what are some unconventional yet effective HR strategies that you believe companies should adopt to improve employee engagement?
So I'm a big believer of conversations.
Okay.
And I keep on saying that conversations are the core of our culture at Edelweiss. Now conversations can happen in multiple formats. Right? And as an organization, we'll have some forums which will build to ensure those conversations happen. But as an organization, can you have organic mechanism for those conversations to flourish? Right? Like for example, somebody is not feeling well in the organization. Like, does it naturally happen that at least 2-3 people will go and talk to that person? And how are you doing? Right? Or for example, say a disagreement happens or a heated argument happens between 2 senior leaders in the organization. Right? Are there other stakeholders in the organization who is trying to bring in the conversation aspect to sort that thing out? Right? So that is something I think which excites me a lot. And for last few years we've been trying it out through multiple formats, right? Like for example, during COVID, one of the things what we did was we told all our members that we are supposed to just pick up the phone and ask us, how are you doing? Because a lot of people are going through tough times. And we said it's no work-related conversation, and like it's a sales head might be calling somebody who is in operations. That, how was your day? Is there anything I can do to support? Now these are very simple things, but if you do it really well and if you do it with the right intent, I think it leads to a huge change, right?
Yes.
A simple, I would call it a simple body intervention, but can have massive impact in terms of the kind of culture you want.
Yeah. I mean, even apart from workplace, also that's what to say, something which we can follow, even in personal life as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So finally, so looking back at your journey, what was the most defining moment in your career that shaped your leadership philosophy?
So I would say, I still remember when I used to work in a restaurant, and when we used to have like crazy hours, right? When you have a lot of footfall which is coming, you need to turn around the tables quickly, which means your service needs to be really fast. And at that point of time, there used to be no hierarchy in the restaurant, right? So your captain, your F&B manager, your F&B director, or even the general manager of the hotel would be out there serving on the table.
Yes.
And my takeaway from that was that ultimately leadership is not only about directing or orchestrating certain things. When required, it is about rolling up your sleeves and ultimately enabling your people to work better. Right? So that is something which I have always seen. Even today, I have seen that as a leader, can you go to that? Are you humble enough to like roll up your sleeves, do that work along with your team members? Second is that a lot of times as leaders we think that I should have all the answers. Okay, right? But I think some amazing leaders I've worked with at Edelweiss, they've always said that leadership is not about having all the answers.
Yeah.
But it is about asking those questions, which when you ask to your team, they themselves find answers to the problems. Okay. So I think that is again an amazing thing. It's still work in progress, right? Where you listen and ask certain questions, then ultimately certain solutions or suggestions come in the room, which finally turns to be much more, I would say, impactful vis-a-vis like what my answers would be in the initial first place.
Okay. So that's it for now. So it's been amazing interviewing you, and amazing and very insightful answers. So I feel the people who are hearing might also be benefit from this. So thank you, sir, for coming here.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you for having me. I think it was fantastic being here at Xplore. I think love the campus, love the energy of the core team and the entire students. So wishing all of you all the very best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.